What if I was to tell you that 1 in 10 homeowners who live in an HOA ran community are thinking of selling their home for HOA related reasons, and more than half of those same people surveyed said they don't think their neighborhood is any better with an HOA. Beautiful looking neighborhood. It's a 55 and older community here in Boynton Beach. It's nice. They're villas. You got water. Got the bird over here enjoying itself, sunning, and you can see the grass and all that's taken care of. And over on this side, there's a fountain, and back over there, there's a clubhouse. All of those are part of a homeowners association that people pay a monthly bill for. But many Americans, including 1,000 who were surveyed by Rocket Mortgage, don't have a favorable opinion of homeowners associations. And based on some of my videos and comments that I've seen over the past couple of years, neither do you. Hey everybody, I'm Palm Beaches Paul, your local YouTube realtor, and welcome back to my channel. So this is a beautiful 55 and older community here in Boynton Beach. You got the birds out here, the water, nice villas. Most of the homes in here are villas, and there are some condos, and it is governed by an HOA, although there is one section that is governed by a condo association, and they have different management companies, but all of them have monthly fees that they pay. And based on some surveys and some reports that I've been seeing lately, a lot of people are really not happy with homeowner associations, especially down here in Florida. Now, before we get into this video, I do want to thank you guys for, well, blowing me up. So I did a video last week about the condo crisis that's going on here in South Florida. And man, did you guys really support me? I mean, I jumped up thousands of new subscribers. I had over, to this date of recording right now, 250,000 views on it. It's amazing. Thank you guys so much for that. I really appreciate it. And I'm always gonna try to bring content to you guys that you can learn from, that you appreciate. But thank you, it really meant a lot that you guys did that, and my channel's growing, so thank you guys for that support. But this is one that I've actually been wanting to make for a while. I've been thinking about the HOA situation in South Florida and how a lot of people aren't happy with them. There's a lot of things going on with the homeowners associations, including embezzlement down in Miami. Yeah, that was a whole hot mess last summer. So we're gonna talk about some of those things and why people really hate HOAs, and are they worth buying a house in one and living under their rules. Okay, so I've switched over to another community. This community has about 2,000 homes. It is governed by a homeowners association. There's a swimming pool, tennis courts, there's a park over here that you can walk and take your dogs all around, and it's surrounded by lakes all over the place, and it's really nice. So first things first, let's talk about what is an HOA. All right, so what is an HOA? So an HOA is a homeowners association. It's an organization that is a governing body for a neighborhood, and it's made up of homeowners, people like you and me. If you want to be the president, you can volunteer to be the president or the secretary or the treasurer, or you can get voted in. And this governing body, their job is to make sure that certain things are taken care of for a community. So I'll use this community, for example. All these common areas, all this grass out here, and the weeds, and even the weeds that grow in the lake to be taken care of, the HOA takes care of that. How? Well, they have a monthly HOA fee, and they take that money and they set it aside, and they have a budget. And every year they have to do a new budget. So they get bids for the lawn service, the people who take care of what we call the common areas, the areas that aren't your property. So they take care of this. Back here, the park. They recently just resurfaced the tennis courts, and they opened up a pickleball court. So they take the money and they put stuff like that. So some HOAs are large, some HOAs are small, and some HOAs actually hire a management company to manage the HOA. They'll hire someone outside, right? And they'll say, hey, we want you to manage all the applications for every person that comes to buy a home, right? Because if they're gonna buy a home, they have a set of rules and regulations that you have to agree to, and they'll make you do a background check and an application and all your personal information that you have to give them in order for them to give you an approval letter so that you can actually close and live in that neighborhood. Little known fact, if you're buying in a homeowners association, in Florida, they have 30 days from the day that you give them a completed application. And I say completed, remember that word, because if it's not complete, if you didn't put your license plate on there, or if you didn't answer a question, they won't consider it completed. And they can tell you that their 30 days that they have by Florida law to do everything they need to do to either approve or deny you starts when they have a completed applications. But I've heard stories of where someone went and they were supposed to close in a week or two, and they never heard from the homeowners association, and the homeowners association said, hey, we never had a completed application and you never bothered to get back in touch with us. And now it's on the buyer and they could be in default of closing on time. Now, it's some of these examples that I'm giving you why people absolutely hate homeowners associations because of their rules, and they feel they're just overbearing, and they don't like having someone tell them how to live or what to do. But at the same time, if you're buying a house that has a homeowners association, you've got to use common sense and know that they have rules, and you can either agree to their rules or not buy in that neighborhood. It's about as simple as that. So let's do a little pros and cons, okay? And I know most of you don't even want to hear any pros, but you don't think there are any, but just for the sake of this video. All right, the pros of an HOA. The HOA takes care of all the common areas, so it looks nice for your neighborhood. If it's a gated community, like many are in South Florida, they make sure that the gates stay up, and they have sometimes a person there manning the gate, sometimes 24 hours a day. They make sure that people aren't just coming in and soliciting your neighborhood, like realtors like me. Just kidding, I don't go solicit neighborhoods. But so they take care of that stuff. They make sure the pool furniture and the pools are working, and nice, new pool chairs, and the tennis courts and the playground. And they also do things like the contractors to do things like maybe take care of the lake. They negotiate the contract for, say you get cable, maybe cable's included in your neighborhood. And so that monthly fee includes your basic cable and internet, and they kind of work that contract out as well. So they do a lot of those things, and they also help keep property values up. So they do keep a neighborhood, and I know you guys are going to argue with me or disagree on this one, but their job is to make sure that your neighbor doesn't let his lawn look like garbage and have 6 cars parked out on the front lawn and paint his house purple. Because me, living next door to that, I'm not going to be happy, because I'll never be able to sell my house, right? How can I sell my house if there's Pigpen living next door to me? So those are the pros. All right, the cons. 1, the HOA fee never goes away. You may pay off your house, you may pay cash, but you will always have a monthly homeowners association fee as long as you have a homeowners association in that neighborhood. Rules, they can be very strict. Restrictions on the type of dogs you have, how many dogs you have. Can you put a fence in your backyard? Can you put a tiki hut in your backyard? That one gets a lot of people in trouble. And so they, restrictions on that. How many cars you can have, how many cars can be parked in the driveway, don't park in the grass. Don't do this to your house. Your lawn looks ugly, you need to trim it. You need to put more sod. My next door neighbor just got told he had to clean his roof, even though it was cleaned 2 years ago. So they had to have it pressure washed. Lots and lots of rules. You can't rent your house out for 2 years. If you do rent it out, they have restrictions for that. No Airbnbs, all sorts of rules. So those are some of the cons of an HOA, and a lot of people really don't like it, and they really don't like being told what they can and can't do with their house. But all right, well, let's talk about some of the issues that have been going on with HOAs here in Florida. Florida is number 2 in all HOA complaints in the nation. California is number 1. So that tells you a lot about how people feel about HOAs in the state of Florida. Now, HOAs aren't always honest, and we're going to talk about that. They can levy fees on you. They can charge you, I believe, and guys, I'm not an expert on this or a lawyer, but when I Googled it, they can charge you $100 for a fine, so maybe you didn't do your lawn, and then they can charge you daily, and I think to a maximum of $1,000. But then once they reach that, they can put a lien on your house if you don't pay that. Now, that's what I could find in Google. I don't know the exact numbers. That seems a little actually low to me, because I've heard people having huge fines, but maybe it's per occurrence or per violation. So maybe that's how it gets up there in the fees. But when you're selling your house, you have a thing called an estoppel letter. It's part of your closing cost, okay? The title company down here in Florida orders it. And the estoppel letter goes out, you, the seller, have to pay for it, and it goes to the HOA, and they put on there if you're in good standing, if you owe money for your HOA, if you had any liens because you had violations, or even if you didn't paint your driveway or pressure wash your roof and you were told to. And so if that comes back, depending on how the contract was written up and everything, the buyer doesn't necessarily have to close until those things are cleared, because it's not a clear estoppel letter. So they have a lot of power, and that's where a lot of people get really upset with them. All right, so here's the part that I know a lot of you have been waiting for and are wanting to hear, because I know how you love HOAs. That was sarcasm. I'm not a huge fan of them, guys. I deal with them. I mean, I can tolerate, but there's good and bad and everything. But the one I'm going to talk to you about right now is definitely bad. So last year in Kendall, which is down in Miami, the largest homeowners association in the state of Florida basically got busted for fraud. Multiple members of the board, including one just recently, were arrested for a $2 million money laundering scheme. This HOA was taking money from the residents, from the account, and were buying Ferraris, sports cars, trips, all sorts of things, all sorts of illegal stuff. And it made headline news. It was a big, big incident, especially here in South Florida. And as I said, as recently as I read this article, I think this past week or maybe this month, another one of the members was arrested for perjury. So not all HOAs are honest, and they've passed some new laws to address that. Like anything, like my last video about the condo and the situation there with the condos and assessments, they passed new laws. Well, the same thing with homeowners associations. Now, the state has issued some new laws, and some of those laws went into effect October of this year, and they address how the board, how the homeowners association handles money, and basically they have to let you know, like line item, what is this money being allocated for, and who are we going to spend it with, what contract. So after the big debacle with the HOA of the community called the Hammocks, that was the community, and it was going on for 7 years from some reports that I read. So they were screwing these people for a long time. But after that, the Miami-Dade County created a new code, 17D, and basically any co-op, condo board, HOA has to register with the county, and they have to provide access to the documents and their financials and a whole bunch of other stuff. You can look it up yourself. I'll try to put a link down below. But basically, they have to go through a lot of red tape now because it was just gotten so out of control. That's kind of what's been going on, and you know, headaches like that and arguments, as you saw, like I said, with other HOAs and people getting upset with them to the point where the police are being brought in. So, you know, there's a lot of hatred towards them right now. In some cases, rightfully so. You know, they're mismanaging money. They walk around, and I can tell you from personal experience, talking to people, you know, customers and neighbors and friends, that, you know, they feel like some of these HOAs go around and just pick on them and nitpick on stupid things, but don't address other things, like maybe the sidewalks should be fixed because they're cracking. And why don't you worry about that instead of telling me to pressure wash my house? So there's a lot of distrust and a lot of anger towards homeowners associations. So, so much so that the state of Florida finally did get involved and created the Homeowners Association Act and passed some new laws. So if you like my videos, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. Also click the little bell so you can get notified of all my new releases. I try to put a new video up every Sunday at around 10 or 11 a.m. Also, I do a lot of live streams. So if you click the bell and get notified, then you'll know when I go live. All right, so nearly 60% of all new construction homes that are single family are in a homeowners association, and 80% of all single family homes in subdivisions are part of an HOA. So it's growing. That's across the United States. So there's a lot of homes that are in homeowners associations. So you have to really think if you want to live in one. Also, something to consider with the homeowners association, unlike a mortgage that you get locked into a rate, say the good old days, 4%, 5%, and that's the same rate you have for 30 years, unless you do an APR, right, an adjustable rate mortgage, which I wouldn't do, but some people do. But that's not the case with your HOA fee. Your HOA fee, just like I discussed in my video last week about the condos, can go up, and it usually does. It may be $300 when you start. Next year it's $325, $350. Before you know it, it's $500 a month that you're paying, and that never goes away. You may pay off your mortgage, but you will never pay off your HOA fee. And the fees have gone up something like 300% in recent years. So it's something you really have to think about and budget into buying a house, and whether you want to live and continuously pay that kind of money every month. For a lot of people, they're telling me no, they do not want to pay that money every single month. And that's from a survey of 1,000 people that was conducted by Rocket Mortgage. 2 out of 3 of those 1,000 people don't feel that their HOA handles their finances honestly. And 47% of those people feel that there's no real benefit to living in a neighborhood with a homeowners association, meaning they could live in a neighborhood without and feel that it would be just as good. So I think that's pretty telling of what people across the country feel about HOAs and whether they like living in them or not. Anyway, I hope you guys liked this video. I wanted to bring this to you, because down here in South Florida, a lot of homes are governed by an HOA. A majority of them are. So if you don't like them, reach out to me. I can take you up to Port St. Lucie, where I've been showing homes, and there's a lot of homes up there with no HOAs, and there are some other homes around South Florida that you can find. But you just have to, do your homework and make sure what you're getting into if you're going to buy into a community that has a homeowners association. I mean, it is beautiful. They do some nice things, but more and more people are really just getting turned off by them. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next week. Enjoy paradise.